with this sort of thing, so I'm just gonna come out and say it. My last Crypto Cove meeting and recording missed the mark in quite a few ways, and that had to do with Solana as well as purchasing Feed the World coin on the Solana chain. Now, my analysis on the Solana chain itself was pretty much spot on. And the advice I gave about purchasing Solana, that too was spot on. But for desktop users, it appears that MetaMask Solana implementation just really isn't up to snuff at this point, and it'll probably be a bit before it is. So it's gotten to the point where I can no longer recommend interacting with Web3 Solana applications using MetaMask on desktop. Now, on mobile, the advice I give you hasn't really changed much at all, because my advice from the beginning had been to use another wallet that supports Solana from the outset, like Phantom. So for those of you on desktop, I'm now going to recommend that if you're planning on purchasing Feed the World coin or donating to the Feed the World initiative, that you use another wallet like Phantom. In fact, Phantom is the one that I'm going to recommend everyone use for this, because Phantom is considered the wallet of choice for the Phantom. I mean, for the Solana infrastructure. All right, so with that in mind, this will be a correction video, and I'll show you how to donate properly this time. So with that in mind, I'll share my screen. And this is going to start out from the assumption that you don't already have Phantom installed. So for that, you would go to phantom.com, and then you would click the download button here. Like for me, it says download for Brave here. For most of you, it will probably say something like download for Chrome or Firefox or whatever your browser of choice is. So we'll go ahead and hit the download button. All right, then we'll click add to Brave or add to Chrome or whatever the case may be. Now, if you're using a Firefox-based browser, this page is going to look pretty different, because you'll be using Firefox's add-ons marketplace. But for most people, it's going to look pretty much just like this. So click add to Brave, then click add extension. All right, we can see that it's downloading the extension. All right, Phantom has been added, and it should automatically open up a new tab to onboard you into Phantom. Now, in most cases, you can actually import your MetaMask wallets into Phantom for this, because you essentially need the 12-word secret recovery phrase, and that will work in most wallets out there. So in this case, we can click I already have a wallet, especially if you already have Solana in MetaMask, if you already bought Solana and have it in MetaMask. And then from here, you're going to see a list of options. Now, in most cases, what you'll want to do is click Import Secret Recovery Phrase. And make sure you have your 12-word secret recovery phrase at the ready. And from then on, you can input your secret recovery phrase here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording and put mine in, and then come back. And we're back. So I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen again. And from here, we can see, this is the way. All right, from here, we can see that you'll see accounts with activity in Solana. And Phantom also works as a standard Web3 wallet for the EVM. So any chains that you use just regularly on MetaMask are also going to be supported here on Phantom. Now, that's not to say that I'm going to recommend switching to Phantom from MetaMask, but it's an option. You can absolutely do that if you want. Just know that most of our documentation and most of my documentation is going to assume that you're using MetaMask because MetaMask is the most popular Web3 wallet out there. So with that in mind, we'll move on and click continue. Now, you can create a password here and it can be just whatever you want. You can actually make it the same password you have for your regular MetaMask wallet if you want. No big deal in either case. And then go ahead and agree to the terms of service and hit continue. All right, now you can click get started. And you may see an option to create a username for yourself, or you can use one that they generate for you. Like, for example, this is just something completely random that it picked for me. And sorry, one sec. I'm just going to let my dog out. I'm not going to stop recording or anything. Okay, that's what happens when things are live, I suppose. So from here, you can see that I have some Solana in there ready to go. I also have the feed the world coin. And you can see the current balance of your entire portfolio. And you can go ahead and click this button here to either maximize or close out, depending on how you have it set up. And from here, you can actually add the Phantom wallet to your extensions toolbar here. So we'll go ahead and click the puzzle piece icon right here. And then click the push pin right next to Phantom. And they'll pin the Phantom to our extensions bar. And you'll notice that kind of looks like a purplish ghost, purple lilac. I'm not sure what you would call that color, but in any case, if you click on it, you'll be prompted to enter in your password. And then you can hit unlock. And again, that shows you your wallet. Okay, so with that in mind, we'll go over to Feed the World. All right, and from here, just as before, you have two options. If you just want to purchase the Feed the World coin, there's a button over here down, I'd say a couple inches down the page, just scrolling down. So you can click there where it shows buy FTW coin. And this will take you to a trading desk where you can trade SOL for FW, that being Feed the World token. So you can do that if you just want to buy the coin. Now, that's not the same thing as a donation. So for donations, you're going to want to click on charity donations. And this brings us back to the main page of Feed the World. And then you'll see a white Donate Now button here. So we'll click there. And now we can check with Phantom and double check how much Solana we have. I'm just going to do a test run here since, well, I'm doing this as an example. But in this case, we can see that I have 0.009 Solana left. I'm going to donate 0.005. 0.005. And then I'll put in my name. All right, then I'll click Connect Wallet. And then Phantom should pop up with a connection request. This will look very similar to how you see it with MetaMask whenever that pops up for you when you're connecting to pool funding or PancakeSwap or what have you. So we'll go ahead and click the Connect button. All right, we're connected, so I'll go ahead and click the Continue button. And then the Phantom Wallet will show us two separate transactions that need confirmation. This first one is just a straight up sending of half of the Solana that you're donating. So we'll go ahead and hit confirm. All right, and the second one is, technically speaking, actually a swap for half of your Solana that you're donating over to Feed the World. So for this transaction, you're actually swapping to get Feed the World. And what the Feed the World initiative does is when they take your donation, they actually give you half of the amount of your donation in Feed the World coin as a thank you. So we can see that the transactions went through. So we'll check up with Phantom. And we can see that I have more Feed the World coin now. All right, so with that, that just about covers it for this correction. Uh, a bit longer than I want it to be, but I suppose that's how it goes. Now, insofar as how this mistake happened in the first place, I could go on about it, but it all boils down to I just didn't do enough due diligence on my part and do a couple test runs as dry runs before I did the crypto code call. And that is entirely my fault. Now, I don't take my position in I do not take my position in the community lightly at all. And I know you all expect better from me, and you all deserve better from me. So I will indeed try my utmost to make sure this doesn't happen again. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and cut this before I make too much more of a fool of myself. And thank you to everyone who's been watching. Appreciate y'all, and I'll see you later.